Yo, yo, yo. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Lenko Show. This is episode number 73. Fitness Myths continued. Back with Chris. We've just had one false start where Chris's connection just decided to kick him out. How you doing, bro? You all right?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. I'm wondering why it decided to do that upon literally the second you started it.
Well, sometimes it likes to just be difficult, doesn't it? So, anyway, today we are going into Fitness Myths continued, but I kind of want to start off on the opposite end of the scale, just like a different tact, keeping things really, really simple. And just as a reminder to you listening that to be fit, to be healthy, all it needs is for you to do the simple things and do them well. So, Chris, what have you had for breakfast today?
Haha. I'm very glad you've asked that, Alex, because I've actually had a fucking banging breakfast this morning. So
Is this where you've had like 3 ostrich eggs and dino blood and various other things?
I wouldn't say it's exotic as exotic as that, but it usually catches people off guard because a lot of people seem to have this thing about eating like what we would call normal meals.
Just imagine if you was excited as that.
Sorry, that was a video of me and my dog from earlier that had just started playing on my phone. I'm having real troubles with that at the minute. It's just literally as soon as my phone goes off, like it's randomly playing that. I do apologize. Carry on.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just can't seem to get their head around the fact that I have like normal meals for breakfast.
Wait,
So
you eat normal food?
yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? People don't seem to understand it. Everyone's always like, "Oh, I couldn't do that at that time in the morning." It's like, well, why not? Like, have you just told yourself that, or is that just not what you used to? So anyway, without further mystery, I had well, in fact, I've had two breakfasts. All right. Okay, hear me out. So the first was a sausage, mushroom, and truffle sauce with pasta. Banging, banging. Creamy garlic mushrooms, sausage meat, truffle sauce, pasta. And then the second was stuffed pasta. So it was spinach and ricotta tortellini with pork meatballs, homemade porky herby meatballs. So
No,
lots of protein, loads of fat, and loads of carbs.
when you say that, is some of that through a meal prep company?
So I use Gusto,
There you go. Easily
which
accessible. Get your ingredients, cook it, eat it. Job done. Why can't anyone else do it? Is it
is
exclusively for you? Are you the only person on planet Earth that's allowed to use Gusto for? Can we get them as a sponsorship on the podcast? Gusto. If anyone from Gusto is listening, come and sponsor us. We'd love that. We
yeah.
don't buy into the HelloFresh BS, given that they've decided that people aren't allowed to say what they want to say. Oh, we're going to pull our advertising. Oh, how many people care? Sorry, Chris, carry on. Were you going to say something?
I don't know where that was going then. But what I was going to say is it's funny that you've asked that about me being the only person that can eat it because I've been trying to give people my link for like the last 3 months and no one will take it. People are missing out. The meals are absolutely incredible. The only thing that I would say with Gusto.
Hold on, hold on. You've been trying to give people your link for the last 3 months. You haven't sent it to me. What the fuck?
I have sent it to you.
No, you haven't.
I have sent it. Not only have I sent it to you, I say it every time our family gets together. I say, which one of you is going to take my Gusto link? And you
Yeah.
don't take.
Well, that's the first time I've heard you say it. You've
Are
never
you
sent it
joking?
to me. But seriously, right, pull it up on your phone now. Show me where you've sent it.
Listeners, we're about to have our first live podcast fight. There's going to be a scrap.
Is it the first? It can't be the first.
I don't know. We've done all right, mate. We have
Surely
done.
not. I'm calling bullshit. You have not sent me the link.
I have sent you. I've put it in the group. It's in
Show
the
me. Oh,
WhatsApp
so
group.
show me. Actually, while we haven't necessarily got time for that on the podcast, what I want you to do is genuinely actually send it to me and I will post it out there for our listeners. I'll put it on our social media so you can take advantage of the link that we're currently arguing about that Chris hasn't sent to me yet. But when he does send it, I will make sure that it gets passed on and that you get it. So if you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on your podcast, make sure there will be a link in the description. Or if you're following us on social media, it will be on social media. See, Chris, I'm trying to talk and just spitball so that you've actually got time to try and find it. and I know you're not going to be able to find it, so I can just keep on talking. I'm probably going to be ended up doing the next hour for this. So if anyone wants to just skip along to the next episode till we're out of time, then feel free. But yes, if you want access to the link for Gusto, for Christopher's special little discount code, so that you can also gain the same privileges that he does with regards to your food preparations, then check out the link. It'll be on our social media page. And I'm sure Chris will be able to dig it out and find an example.
The privilege is easy, accessible food that tastes delicious, and you can just literally follow the recipe. And you get to pick them from a menu. You can't go wrong. Anyway, I don't work for Gusto, and we're not sponsored by them. So...
And also, if anyone does know anyone that does work for Gusto that would sponsor us, that'd be wicked.
Yeah. Until then, we're going to beep out the word Gusto every time until they decide to sponsor us.
Going to say they've had enough free pub in this podcast anyway. So from future podcasts, whenever Christopher's talking about his recipe foods, we're going to be blanking it out. So that was your breakfast. What have you done a workout yet today?
Yeah, I have actually. So I did a strength workout, which was technical work on the Olympic lifts. So I was doing some overhead squats. Then I did front squats into jerks. I did some push press. Then it was glute ham raises and some midline work, some abs work, followed by some lactate threshold intervals. The good old trusty 30-30 intervals, 6 rounds, rest for 2 minutes, 6 rounds, rest for 2 minutes, 6 rounds. That was toasty. And then I guess I did some extra conditioning as well because I went boxing. So
simplicity, yeah. Isn't it? I've gone all Jocko. I've gone all just spitting sawdust.
All Jocko. You already were all Jocko.
Oh God, right, okay. So yeah, well, I'm taking it even further. So obviously, you know that I've had the extension built on my house. We've had a garage put in, which is a gym, which at the minute is unfortunately a storage room for all the decorating stuff. But I managed to clear enough room to be able to do some simple savage shit, should we say. So I've got enough space for the assault bike. I've got the bands out. I've not actually got any more, like I've got a weighted vest and everything. I still need to pull that down from the loft. I've got an exercise slam ball, etc. And a few different little things, nothing too fancy, but pretty much just body weight, sweat, workout, grimness. This morning, grunt work. This morning I just did an easy one. I literally just did. I was on the assault bike, did 50, 40, 30, 20, 10 in terms of calories and reps. So it was calories on the assault bike, body weight push-ups, and body weight squats. And it was just get it done as quick as I possibly could. All while the dog was snooping around, sniffing me, checking I was still breathing, still alive. So simple things.
And on top of that, what have you eaten?
So my breakfast was, I had a 6-egg omelette where I take out a couple of the yolks. So just keep the calories down and keep the fats a little bit lower. And then I've got a ham joint at the minute that we're repurposing. So it was Pepsi Cola ham, proper ham joint cut. Like, absolutely beautiful. Slice up
in a ham joint.
Yeah. So like I just took in my omelette basically, rather than just eating it on sandwiches and all that kind of stuff. I don't really eat sandwiches. So 2 slices of plain toast, chop up the ham, chuck it in the pan, cook it up a bit, pour in the eggs, little sprinkling of mature cheddar, serve it on the toast. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, and I threw in some tomatoes and various other bits in there as well. Freshen it up and add a few little additions in that sense. So yeah, food, simple food, simple training, and bringing to the forefront rest and recovery, making sure that you're actually sleeping and getting enough recovery.
So you didn't have any cereal?
Nope, no cereal. Nope.
Not any chocolate?
No chocolate. No chocolate for breakfast. No, oddly enough, I'm not 3 years old.
And you've not died?
And I've not died.
You're not like angry at the world or anything? Well,
I'm always angry at the world. You know that.
You're not more angry at the world?
Someone somewhere is pissing me off. No, I'm not more. I'm actually feeling rather content. I had before doing a lot of that. I took the pooch out, took him for a good little bit of tracking. If you saw me on saw my Instagram, you'll have seen how excited he was for that this morning. He's currently just guarding his kingdom, overwatching everything. Yeah, just life should be simple.
What do you think to this then? So a lot of people seem to be baffled by the fact that you don't have a snack in the morning. What do you think to that? What would your choco opinion of the snack, the morning snack be?
What the fuck are you snacking for? Like, I can understand if you're gonna work out straight away and you want a bit of a pre-workout, but like I think the belief that you have to have something to eat to have energy to train is just fucking nonsense. Unless your body fat percentage and your glycogen stores are at nil, which it never is. I mean, I can understand in the case of maybe someone who's type 1 diabetic and needs to manage their blood sugar levels a lot better than we necessarily care to do so, then you might need to have food on standby. But like the thought of like, oh, you have to snack so that you don't drop dead is just weird.
I do think it's funny when people use the word snack, because that's my first thought as well. It's like, you mean because you think you might be hungry, you've decided to have something until you have your next meal. But I think actually that's usually the case when they've not got planned meals, like they don't know what the next meal's going to be, etc.
Yeah,
so,
I think a lot of the time snacking creeps in. Like if you're eating in accordance with a balanced nutrition plan where you're eating consistent meals through the day, and it's not like, I think sporadic eating is what gives room to snacking.
yes.
If it's not routine, it's not planned in, then you are going to kind of go, oh, I feel like I need something to eat or I might melt. That's the situation that you get yourself into. You buy that ticket yourself. Plan your meals, eat like an adult. Like think about if you were looking after a child, how would you want them to eat? Would you want them secretly snacking all the time, or would you want them to be in balanced meals throughout the day where they're actually getting what they need to be able to develop and grow? Like that's the way that you should approach your own nutrition in your own training. Like you're looking after a child, not actively being the child, deciding the meals you want to eat. It's like if you went to a child, like a 4-year-old, and go, right, okay, what do you want for breakfast this morning? Do you want Haribo? Or do you want like a mini omelette? Child's portion. That's why it's a mini omelette. Like the child's going to pick fucking Haribo every single time. Doesn't mean you should do the same. And you know that the Haribo is not a good choice. Go and do proper food. Make adult decisions in your life.
You made quite a few points about eating like a child in the last one.
Yeah, because that's what most people are doing, isn't it? Like they're taking out the thought process and they're just being emotional about it. Stop being so fucking emotional. I suppose you can even take that away from food. Just stop being so emotional. Making bad decisions. Going with your fucking gut, which is excessive. Stop it. Calm down. Think. Breathe. Breathe, then think. Then act. Like an adult. Like a human.
Do you know what?
Not a lizard.
I do think short term, your emotions are a terrible metric to judge like how you act, how you're going to behave, what your responses should be. Long term, you can track them and find out like where are you spending most of your emotional energy and do you need to change things then. But short term, like you can feel shit one day and perform really, really well or do really well. And you can feel really, really, really fucking good one day and then have high expectations of yourself and move like a slug or feel shit.
Yep.
So short term, your emotions are very, very useless for the most part nowadays. Unfortunately. Over the long run, yeah, you want to be feeling pretty good every now and then, but you know.
Yeah. A lot of the time our emotions don't serve us well. They're essentially a signal to tell you that something is amiss. Trying to work out what that is and why it is that way is a different matter. That is the art of a skilled human, and you can only do that in a conscious mindset rather than being reactive, emotional, and if you have a bit of an outburst at someone, like I frequently do, if you can't work out why, then you're gonna have a problem. So you need to figure your shit out.
What do you think do you think people have to enjoy the process of moving towards a goal?
No, absolutely not. Why would you need to enjoy the process? That's assuming that the process should be fun. Like, where does it say that in the rule book?
Yeah,
I think is this the first podcast that we've recorded since my boys, the Manchester Titans, went and won the national title again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, the other weekend, the Manchester Titans played against the London Warriors in Butts Park Arena in Coventry, 5:00 on the Sunday evening. The game is available on YouTube if you want to go and watch it. Great bit of entertainment, fantastic game, loads of incredible players on both sides of the ball, both teams. And it literally came down to a fourth quarter battle where we eventually pulled away and came out the winners. But on signing up to embark on that goal of winning another national championship, nowhere in the fine print did it say, this is going to be fun. You will enjoy every minute of it. Like, you know that's not part of the deal. And it shouldn't be fun. Like, why should it be fun? Like, do you think it should be?
Do I think it should be?
Mm.
It's a tough one. I think I guess I'm on the fence. I personally don't, but I think for some people, if they're not finding a level of enjoyment somewhere, they're just not going to carry it on.
Okay, so what you've said there is find enjoyment in the process.
Yeah, that's
very, very different to the process being enjoyable. The process being enjoyable would mean that, I think, my interpretation of it, the process being enjoyable is that everyone can find enjoyment and everyone will find enjoyment in the process. Like, if you were to say, right, okay, well, all your training sessions, you're going to turn up, do what you want, have fun, play around, and that's going to be your winning formula. If you allowed that to happen, it would be fucking carnage and no one would achieve anything. Very, very few people would progress and get better. Saying and putting together a structure and a training plan, training program, and conducting your training sessions at times where people find it difficult, in weather conditions where people find it miserable, is important. If you said, right, okay, well, we're just going to train when it's 20 degrees and sunny, well, that's not going to get you anywhere. It's more enjoyable. It is the enjoyable thing, but it ain't getting you anywhere. Now, if you've got enough people in the team that have the mindset of, I am going to find some sort of enjoyment in my suffering, now that is going to take you across the line. That is going to start making waves and moving shit forwards. And I think it's the same approach on an individual level for us as coaches, trainers, athletes, performers. Like, you have to find enjoyment in your suffering. What was it? Ben Aiken, what was it he said? Can you remember?
Something about pain in adversity, enjoyment in adversity, or
enjoyment in the face of adversity, or something like that. Like, you need to find that. Like, you have to go searching for that as an athlete and as a competitor. Like, that's the bit you have to enjoy. And also, more than anything, as long as you enjoy the end result, who gives a fuck?
That's true. Very true.
Is this all part of your myth busting questions? Or have we just gone on a massive tangent for like the last 25 minutes?
This is all just a big tangent. It was cheerfulness in the face of adversity.
Cheerfulness in the face of adversity. That's the
what it was.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've not got to the myth busting yet.
Should we go there now?
Yeah. Would you like to bust some myths?
Ladies and gents, welcome into the myth busting. 25 minutes in, we're actually getting to the subject of the episode.
Yeah. So this is the fun part now. We're about to delve into the mind of Alex Lenkowski and find out what he thinks about some of these myths.
Sorry, your connection went then. What did you say?
I just said, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm always ready.
Okay. Number one, eating after 6 p.m. will make you gain weight.
Do we even need to go there?
Yep.
Did you hear the dog's reaction to that?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he wasn't.
That's essentially my reaction. Eating after 6 p.m. So there are benefits to time restricted eating. However, if you do eat a meal after 6 p.m., you ain't going to explode. I don't really want to go much further than that with it, to be honest.
I wonder what the science or what people think the science is. The clock hits 6 p.m. and then calories taken in, the body.
10x. They become 10 times the calories.
Yeah. Is that what would happen? Or would they just, the body just opens a valve and it just all comes down a chute that converts into fat? Or
Well, I mean, where do you think this myth comes from?
probably people who eat a lot of shit after 6 p.m.
Yeah, genuinely, that's what I think it is. I think it's probably a diet that's been put in place where it's someone said, right, okay, we're going to go with some sort of time restricted eating. You're going to eat all your meals in a window between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. And then after that, you're not going to eat anything. And I think that automatically meant people were cutting down on calories, reducing the calories, dropping weight. And it's like, holy shit, this is magic. When it's not, it's just science. It's just basics. Basics, like we were speaking about at the start, which is why we talked about what we had for breakfast and that kind of stuff. Whereas I think if you look at a lot of the emotional, mindless stuff that people do, it's after 6 p.m. They're probably sat home on the couch, not exercising. They've already had the dinner. Or like, let's say they're eating tea at 6, 7 p.m. And then they're going to spend the rest of the night sitting around on the couch, eating crisps, drinking wine, getting boozy. And it becomes emotional, relaxed, cathartic. And that becomes a de-stress. And I think if that becomes a de-stress, then you're hitting a lot of your basic human needs and you're going to repeat the behavior. And it gives you a real simple chance to actually form bad habits. So in terms of saying to some people and using it as a coaching tool, like don't eat a meal after 6 p.m., you might go down that route as a guideline for a nutrition plan, but as a blanket rule for everybody and as a basic thing, like if you eat after 6 p.m., you're going to be fine. No problems. I mean, I think I've pretty much eaten every single night of my life. I've had something after 6 p.m. and I'm okay. So what about you?
Yeah, I'd be fucked because I don't get home till about 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the other thing as well, isn't it? Like lifestyle. Like your lifestyle factors play, your lifestyle plays a huge role in how you eat and what you do. So let's not overcomplicate it. You can eat after 6 p.m. You're not a bad person if you do. You're not automatically fat if you do. Carry on.
yeah, good. I like it. That was a professional answer. Well done. I don't think you offended anyone.
Well, I'll do better. I'll try and do better.
Well, so this next one is a two-parter, okay? So part one is you can turn fat into muscle.
Nope. No, you can't. Carry on.
That is the flip side. When you stop training, your muscle turns into fat.
No, it doesn't.
I like it. Anything to elaborate, or should we move on?
Yeah, I will elaborate a little bit. So what was it again? You can turn fat into muscle. I'm just trying to write these down as I go. So I've got prompts of how stupid this is. I'm going to put a collection. I might release some sort of ebook or a book.
Yeah.
Stupid things that people believe. You can turn fat into muscle and you can turn muscle into fat when you stop exercising.
Stop training, yeah, muscle turns into fat. Because that's a big one that, funnily enough, people that don't train say, well, if I start training, then the muscle will just turn into fat.
Yeah, so what I might do, I might actually start just thinking of, because I've given you the answers. So what I might do is try and figure out where these things and these beliefs.
Because I've just had a thought.
Go on.
whenever I've heard someone say this to me, they've always said it with absolute confidence.
Yeah, and that's weird, isn't it? Like, it's like, why? So that's what I want to try and do. I want to try and think of like, where does this shit actually come from? Who starts it?
Why do you believe it instantaneously?
Like, where's your evidence? Where's your proof? Because it's not true. So there must be some evidence or something that people have seen from somewhere as to why it's true. So anyway, can you turn fat into muscle? I mean, well, no. How? How would that happen? Where would that have come from? Possibly people that have stopped eating junk and just started actually training have obviously built more muscle mass, and then fat mass reduces, muscle mass improves, and you almost think of it's like a transactional balance between the two, as like fat decreases, muscle increases. I mean, it doesn't work that way because you can simply just gain mass and maintain fat mass and still build muscle. So I'm not too sure.
I've heard before that the fastest way to look like you've gained 10 pounds of muscle is to lose 10 pounds of fat. I've heard that before. And it's come from people who were already in okay shape, but then they, let's say, cut down. And obviously by becoming much leaner, you can now see the shape of the muscles and the more athletic physique, etc. Yep. So that certainly could be a factor of it as well. And then, do you know what else I think? I think it's those bloody bodybuilders. Those bloody bodybuilders. So in the case of muscle turning to fat, right? I have to go down the bodybuilder right here because,
well, that's their job, isn't it? It's their job to turn muscle in, well, like to develop muscle, isn't it? To build muscle, like it is in the
only that. But when we think about the amateur ones, or the people that just go and just do a show while they go and do a
Chris, who do you dislike the most, bodybuilders or fat builders?
I think bodybuilders are ex-fat builders.
Okay.
So they're one and the same. A bodybuilder is just a person with an eating disorder that has decided to start taking drugs as well. No, that's a terrible answer. That is decided to try and channel it into something productive. They've just fallen down the wrong path. So hear me out, right? A lot of bodybuilders have eating disorders and they have bad relationships with food. Bodybuilding does not create a positive relationship with food. Eating 16 calories every day to get on stage for one day, to be told, no, your left delt is not round enough, or you haven't brought your best package, or you're a little bit too big, or you're not diced enough, or the tan doesn't match the fuck knows. But anyway, these people do that, and then because they've deprived themselves of nutrients and calories for so long, they then do this like really cute thing where they're like, oh, it's the first baked good I've had since last COVID. And then they'll eat something and suddenly be shocked to find that their body is just craving it all the time. And they start to have about 4,500 calories a day until they actually do get fat. Unless they're working with a coach who's doing a prep phase with them, their actual comp or shoot or whatever, and then a post phase with them to refeed them and basically reverse diet them back into like another segment or whatever. But a lot of people go into it, they do that, they build muscle, they get into whatever good shape, and then they've done the comp, they come out of it and they start eating loads of shit again, which their body's just not used to, and they get fat. And then people think, oh, well, all your muscles just turned into fat. No, I've just started eating like a fat cunt and stopped training as much. And now this is who I am.
Why don't you tell us what you really think? The thing is, people are probably going to think that was me speaking there. That was all Chris, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't believe you would say that. I can't believe that.
No. I think you're right as well in terms of like, where does it come from that you can turn muscle into fat? I think people probably, people probably look at a lot a lot of ex-professionals or a lot of ex-sportsmen and think, oh, they used to be really lean and muscular and now it's all just turned to fat. So I don't want to get muscly in the first place because it's all going to turn to fat. It's like, listen up, fatty. There's plenty of people out there who are fat without ever having had the muscle in the first place.
Yep.
So, and I think that's what happens. Like a lot of professional sports people, they've got a really high energy expenditure throughout their life. They have eating habits that are designed to sustain that level of energy expenditure. And then once the energy expenditure drops, reduces, or stops to a degree, say stops, it doesn't go to zero because they're always moving, always expending energy, but nowhere near like they used to day in, day out. The nutrition habits don't necessarily change along with that, which is where you get a lot of former footballers just looking a little bit tubby, which is, part and par for the course. So I think in terms of muscle turning into fat, doesn't happen. Muscle will waste away. It will atrophy because it's expensive to maintain it. It takes a lot of energy for the body to simply maintain it. And if you stop using it, you will lose it. It will degenerate. It will atrophy. And it will become less, like your muscle mass will reduce over time. So best way to track it, track your lean mass, track your fat mass, use an in-body scanner. I know you've got one in your gym. We've just got one in ours now as well. Use one of those every 6 to 8 weeks and work along with that. So I think that's where that comes from. I won't look into it any more than that. The answer is no and no.
Beautiful. Okay. So the next one then. You can exercise away the calories from a bad diet.
Now, I think this is a similar theme to what we were just speaking about then in terms of energy expenditure. And I used to do a presentation just like you can't out-exercise a bad diet. Principally, you probably could, but the amount of work you would have to do to balance out the bad nutrition habits that you've got is going to be very, very difficult. So I would suggest define a bad diet. If a bad diet is one where you are overeating, then you are always going to gain too much weight. If you are, doesn't matter what you do, if you're overeating, you're overeating. If you're consuming too many calories, you're going to put on weight, you're going to put on fat. If you're eating the right balance of calories with low nutrition or low quality nutrition foods, that will have negative health consequences, but you will maintain, shall we say, you will maintain your current body weight, probably maintain your current physique. You just won't feel great. Energy levels will start to drop. And eventually, I think that doing that over a long period of time will have a detrimental effect. So can you out-train a bad diet? For me, a bad diet is one where you are over-consuming. You're eating way more calories than the body needs and you're actually gaining mass. Or a bad diet is massively under-eating, in which case your training will fall through the fucking floor and you will get seriously injured. Is that the question you were hitting on?
Yeah, no, and I completely agree. I think people naturally tend to veer towards like their body looking a certain way, but it's way bigger than that. Like the nutrients and the things that you're putting inside your body contribute to way more than just the way that you look. It's the way that you feel and the way that your body runs and operates as well. And they will also govern the way your body looks. And long term, that's the biggest thing. Do you know what? I heard it was actually Warren Buffett. I was listening to him talk on, I can't remember. I don't think it was a TED talk, but it was something of that kind of thing the other day. And he was saying about if it was actually really good exercise. So he said to his audience, he said, if I told you, you can have whatever car you want, it doesn't matter which one, you can have whichever car you want, but you get it for the rest of your life. And that's the only car you'll ever have. That is it. So he was like, he let them choose the car, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, right, so this is the car that you're going to have for the rest of your life. How do you think you'll treat it? And then obviously they're like, well, will look after it, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, you fucking would, because it's the only one you're ever going to get. Like, you need it to not break down. You need it to last until the rest of your life, which for most people at the seminar is like going to be another at least 40, 50 years. He said, now think of the context of your body. You've only got one body and you've only got one brain. And it has to last you until the end of your life. Yet you don't treat it as well as you would potentially treat a car. Putting shit inside your body is not looking after it.
And I think
it's come out of the body.
I think a lot of that is because, like, obviously people have bad habits and they know they're bad habits, but they continue to go down that route anyway because they don't necessarily immediately feel the consequences. Like, imagine if every time someone smoked a cigarette, it was like being stabbed in the back or the face. Imagine if there was like intense pain with every time you smoked a cigarette, or like severe burning in the lungs, which essentially, like, it's basically what you're doing. Imagine if you could feel that pain every single time. Do you think more people would do it or less? If it was actually painful.
Yeah, less people.
So I think it's because people don't necessarily experience immediate pain with doing it, and they actually get a bit of satisfaction or a bit of a hit from it. It fulfills some of their basic human needs, and that's why they continue with it. Yeah.
Sad times. Sad times.
Don't do it. Don't smoke. Don't do drugs. Don't vape. Don't breathe in bubblegum flavored air.
We've tied it up. We've done a really good job. That is the end of the myths that we had to myth bust. So we can find some more on a later date. But
I've got loads more. I've got a big long list for you.
Oh, buzzing. Okay.
But I feel like what we might do is actually start to tackle a few of them just one at a time and actually add in some evidence-based research so that people have a clearer indication. Because I think a lot of the time, a lot of the things that we're speaking about in terms of diet, habits, etc., we're looking at habits that will actually maximize and increase metabolic rate, which then means you can pretty much eat more. And if you eat more good food, again, you elevate that, you improve your quality of sleep, you improve your physical activity throughout the day, your hormone balances are better, your metabolic rate increases. If you continue to go down the route of eating shit foods, having bad habits, poor quality of life behaviors, that resting metabolic rate is going to drop and drop and drop and make it easier and easier to overconsume and eat more than you should eat, which basically is going to result in weight gain, which is typically what people don't want. Is why we're in a job. So maximize your potential, maximize your body, use it the way it's intended.
There you go. There you go. Look after it.
And go Gusto.
Get yourself on fucking Gusto now, everyone.
Speaking of which, have you found that message where you've sent it to me?
No, I've not going to be phoning me. I'll have a look after you get off.
Funny that. Anyway, that concludes it for episode number 73 today. Hope you've enjoyed it, ladies and gents. Chris, have you enjoyed yourself today? I feel like you've let a few things off your chest.
You know what? I feel a little bit lighter. And I apologize to everyone. You might not have seen this side of me yet, but it's there. Hey, listen, we all do it. We all do it. And sometimes I have to vent up the chain of command to my brother. There you go. That's the way it is.
What we'll have to do is blame it on our genetics. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
What we can do with this is actually absolve ourselves of any responsibility and free thinking and simply blame genetics.
We could blame the government.
There we go. It's not our fault. You heard it. Like, it's not our fault. It's genuinely, it's not our fault. No, I joke. It is 100% our fault. The opinions are 100% ours. Chris 100% believes that. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you again today. Not you, Chris. You were all right speaking to our wonderful listeners. We will be back again. Make sure you check out our social media pages for the links to the food company Christopher uses. We will share that once Christopher does it. Until next time, take care, live well, and be a hard ass. Lenko out.